That was just a move that proved to me you have no balls under your sack, dude. Like, you have no balls in between your legs, and you just proved to me that quickly that you are a loser. I'm sorry. Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. And don't forget, you are listening to the best sports podcast there is. But look, man, we got a great episode for you today on September 13th, 2022. Now, look, man, all my picks, my predictions, my precious predictions have went to shambles. All of these teams that were supposed to win ended up losing. So now I have a negative record in week one. I was almost good. We done had a tie. We done had all of this stuff. Week one has been crazy, and there's been so many different games that's happened that's been settled with less than 10 points or less than 5 points. I think it was like 7 games that ended between 5 or less points. So it's been absolutely crazy. But look, I'm actually worked up. So let me give you a heads up. I need to let you know. I got to let you know right now. So you brace yourself. I'm not. The game I seen yesterday, I'm frustrated. I'm very frustrated. I could not wait to wake up this morning and record this because I just could not. I could not take in what I witnessed from the Denver Broncos the other night. So here's it is. So first, we've seen the Broncos. They lost to the Seahawks 17-16. The Seahawks played a great game. They did their thing. Absolutely. But here's my thing. The Broncos absolutely wet the bed miserably. They pissed all down their leg. It got on the sheets, and they actually sharted it a little bit too. I'm sorry to get a little bit graphic, but that's just what they did. I mean, watching this game, it was piss poor from what I seen. And based on the fact that they look bad as a unit, they look bad as a coaching staff and as individuals, because I just don't get it. They couldn't capitalize on any type of red zone offense, and the late game decision was absolutely horrible when I talk on. And I'll touch on the red zone offense and all of that and stuff in a minute. But we got to start with the red zone offense we got to start with the late game management, because what the hell was going on? What is this? What is this? I witnessed a heartless, gutless team out here just fighting for no reason. You fought all game to lay down and give up? Like, what the hell? What is the deal with that? And I just don't get it, because the head coach, Nathaniel Hackett, that was just a move that proved to me you have no balls under your sack, dude. Like, you have no balls in between your legs, and you just proved to me that quickly that you are a loser. I'm sorry. And I know it's one game. I know it's week one. I know it's his first time coaching. I get it. I get it. It's all of those things going on, but bro, you have a top 10 quarterback. You're supposed to put the ball in his hands and give him an opportunity to bring that game home for you. This is a quarterback who's won an NFL championship, who's won the NFC conference, who went deep in the playoffs on multiple times, who's been playing in the league for multiple years, who's done experienced those situations on multiple occasions. So what are you doing? Taking the ball out of his hands and choosing to kick a 64-yard field goal? And let me give some context. Let me give a little bit of context just in case you didn't get the chance to watch the game. So look, to put it in perspective, it was 4th and 5. They're in the Seahawks territory. They were obviously he kicked a 60-yard field goal. So a 64-yard field goal. So he was like around that. That give you an idea of where he was, a little past half. So anyway, 4th and 5, 20 seconds left. It was actually about 26, 27, 30 seconds. In the Broncos, they still had 2 timeouts left. So I'm like, okay, you got 2 timeouts left. It's 4th and 5. You can go for it. And you have a top 10 quarterback in the league, but you choose to kick the ball when you're down 1 point. I done seen Russell Wilson take the ball downfield in 30 seconds, way worse field position. I've seen him do it in way worse field positions. So I know for a fact, 100% for a fact, that he would be able to at least make a play on 4th and 5. Like, it's ridiculous. To me, it was a gutless move. He proved to not have any cojones, because this man, it was terrible. It was terrible. That's the first perspective. Let's get that out the way. That was bad. And then you look at the red zone offense. This is why I say, as a unit, as a team, as individuals, because this team here, they wet the bed again in the red zone. They could not capitalize on anything in the red zone here. They took 4 trips and got to the goal line and literally did not capitalize on one. And in fact, they turned the ball over twice while they were in the end zone. So not only did they get there, they turned the ball over twice. They gave it away. They had a bunch of stupid penalties that just looked like it was a lack of urgency. Looked like they just were careless with the ball on the offensive end. Got a bunch of penalties. That's what I meant. A bunch of penalties. And they had, I think it was 12 penalties for 107 yards or something like that. It was just penalty after penalty after penalty. And you have to clean that type of play up, man. So outside of the red zone messing up, clearly the Broncos, they have to work on that red zone offense. And I think it ties right back into the coaching staff, because I seen some bad play calling. I did not see them get the ball in the end zone. And if you're an NFL team, you know, once that field shrinks, it becomes much more difficult to score the ball. And they could not find a way to get in the end zone. And credit to the Seahawks defense, because they balled out. I do want to give credit to the Seahawks. I want to give credit to the Seahawks. Absolutely. They did their thing. And Geno Smith, he balled out. He did exactly what he needed to do. He came in. He showed up big. He was looking like a top-tier quarterback in this league against that Broncos defense. They were killing him. I think he only had 5 incompletions throughout the entire game. What do I have here? Yeah, 21 or 25 attempts and 21 completions. So he did his thing, and no interceptions, none of that. So he did his thing. They ran the ball. They switched it up with the play call. It was just another thing of the Seahawks out coaching the Broncos as well. It was clear. It was clear when you were watching this that it was some things going on with the Broncos, and it's a lot of it. And it was just very, very frustrating to watch, especially because I picked the Broncos to win, and they ended up losing. And they made my record negative. They made it negative. But look, let's touch on that, because I gotta give you guys the recap of my picks, man. It went to shambles this week, but it's okay. I mean, it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad. 7-8-1 is not that bad, but we'll touch on it in just a second. So stay tuned, and we'll give you the recap of all the teams, the winners and losers, and where I was wrong in my picks that I predicted. So stay tuned, and we will be right back. Now, you know, just because you're busy doesn't mean you got to be stressed. I'm crazy busy right there with you, but it can be easier. Next time you're on a run, just make it more fun and listen to The Run with Manny Wilson.
Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run, the Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. Now, as I mentioned, let's give a recap of this week's and week 1 of where my predictions were wrong and where my predictions were off. All right, so I didn't really get a chance to predict the Thursday night football with the Bills and Rams, but if you haven't heard by now, the Bills did end up taking the win 31-10. But let me switch this up. Hold on. Nope. I need to set the element, man. I missed my element. Nope, that's the wrong one. Nope, you got to fix that, man. All right, let's get it. Here it is. It's NFL, man. It's time for the NFL. I need the vibe to be right. I need the vibe to be correct. You got to fix that, man. You got to get right. All right, so let's do it. The Bills, they beat the Rams 31-10. and Thursday Night Football. I didn't get a chance to predict that one, but I did predict the Saints beating the Falcons. My poor Falcons lost 27-26. I picked the 49ers to beat the Bears, but the Bears won 19-10. I picked the Bengals to beat the Steelers. Steelers ended up stealing that game 23-20 over the Bengals. I was correct with the Eagles and the Lions. I said the Lions weren't going to win, even though they were in Detroit, but the Eagles took the dub 38-35 in a close matchup. The Dolphins, they beat the Patriots 20-7. The Ravens, they beat down on the Jets 24-9. I was also correct about those last two, including the Ravens and the Jets. I was also correct about these Commanders and the Jaguars as well. 28-22, the Commanders took the win, but I was wrong once again. When we go back to the NFC with the Broncos, or the Browns and the Panthers here, the Browns, they ended up beating the Panthers 26-24. And then the next game here was a tie. So this made me break even when it could have made me break even, I should say. But the Colts and Texans, they tied at 20 apiece in an overtime game. So that was a great game to watch. But I'm kind of hurt my Colts didn't, well, not my Colts, but I'm hurt the Colts didn't give me the win. The Giants, they surprised everyone as they beat the Titans. They won 21-20. The Packers, they got beat down against the Vikings 23-7. The Chiefs, they wiped out the Cardinals, shot them birds down 44-21. And the Raiders, they took an L against the Chargers. They wasn't charged up enough as the Chargers won 24-19. Buccaneers took care of business against them weak Cowboys 19-3. And the Broncos disappointed everybody, including me, as they lost against the Seahawks 17-16. Now look, man, I know that's a lot. I know that was a lot. But anyway, I got some winners and I have some concerns in some of these divisions here. So I got to break this down because there was a lot of football that we got to witness. It was a bunch of football, but I didn't really get to touch on every single game. And I'm not going to keep you here the entire hour, the entire day, whatever, for the entire game. So look, let's just run it past you because I have some division winners and I got some concerns. So these winners here, I'm going to start with a few divisions. I don't have every single division, but these are just some I just could not help but to touch on because some of the games were good, some of the teams were good, and so on, all of that stuff. But anyway, the AFC West. You got the Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, and the Chargers. Now, I say, based on the performance of week one, so I don't want anyone to get this twisted and to be thinking, oh, well, he's got them winning the division now and all that. No, we're not really doing that. That's not really the case right now. So, but for the AFC West, based on week one, what I see the winners of this week so far was the Chargers, man. Because, you know, I don't know. Actually, no. We're not going with the Chargers. You can make a solid argument for the Chargers, but I'm sticking to the Chiefs, man. I'm sticking to the Chiefs only because people have been doubting the Chiefs since they lost Tyreek Hill and Tyrann Mathieu. And I'm included. I'm not going to sit here and tell you a tale. I'm included. I was doubting the Chiefs also, but I like the way the Chiefs came out and handled themselves week one. And yeah, you can blame it on the Cardinals defense and the Cardinals being trash defensively, especially in week one. But ultimately, the Chiefs still had to go out there and take care of business. And again, as long as they have Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, those two guys have experience and they can coach the hell out of some games. Or Andy Reid can coach the hell out of some games, and Pat Mahomes can play the hell out of some games. So I give the Chiefs the winners, but you can make an argument for the Chargers. Obviously, they played a great game as well in week one, but I'm going with the Chiefs, man, because it's been a lot of hype, and the Chiefs have been quiet. They kind of just sneaking up on people, and you can't really count them out yet. You just can't count them out yet. They're still valuable to this division. But anyway, the concerns I have for this division here. We are going with, yeah, man, we need to be concerned about those Raiders. We got to be concerned about those Raiders. Just for the fact that, you know, I went in this Chargers and Raiders matchup. We didn't get to see Derek Carr really do what he does best. He had the glimpses in it. He had the glimpses in there where he played good, and he had those stretches where he showed that, okay, yeah, he's the man. He can take this franchise to the playoffs and do this and do that. But ultimately, the Chargers, they swarmed him in the pocket, and he just looked a little bit uncomfortable at times in the game. And I know it came down to the wire and all of that, so it could have really went either way. But I don't think the Chargers are the only team, even in this conference or in the NFL, that just has a great defensive line and a great defense that can kind of rattle Derek Carr. And again, it's week 1, so they're going to figure some things out, kind of figure some plays and stuff that works well for them. But ultimately, I got to give that concerns area to the Raiders this week. And you can definitely make an argument for the Broncos. You see, I just went in on the Broncos earlier in this episode, so I'm not mad at that, but clearly they have concerns. So those two teams. But let's slide over to the AFC or the NFC North. Let's slide over there with the Steelers, Ravens, Browns, and the Bengals. Now this can go a couple of ways, but I think there's a lot of different winners and there's a lot of different losers in this division here. Just for the fact that obviously the games came down to the wire, but I say the winners here can possibly be the Bengals. I guess I'll give 2 winners. Let's do it that way. I mean, it's my show. Let's do whatever. So let's give 2 winners. So the Bengals, I don't know how the hell I'm giving them, winners when they lost. I'm kind of huge on that. And, you're not a winner if you lose. So I say the Bengals. Hear me out for a second, because I say the Bengals only because, yes, they lost this week, but they played terrible. And every quarterback, especially young quarterbacks, sometimes they have those glimpses where they don't really play the best. They have those games where they kind of wet the bed a little bit. They have those rough patches throughout the game where they play bad, because we talk about Joe Burrow, how bad of a week he had, having 4 turnovers in the first half. Josh Allen only, I think, a few seasons ago had a very similar first half as well. And he set the record, I think, of like the actual worst first half in the NFL. So, and look at what he's doing. So you can't really hold them to hold them at fault for that. Like, I get it. Obviously, they need to take responsibility, but because they were still able to stay in the game against a great Steelers defense, that kind of helps me kind of claim them as a winner, because it shows that, yeah, they can play bad, but they can still be relevant. Their defense is going to somewhat hold it down. They can still make plays. They can pull it together. And it was just a rough stretch. It was a rough stretch in the game. But I'm kind of concerned at that point too. So I guess it's not really a distinct winner and loser for this conference if I'm picking the Bengals. But the Steelers, I'm a little concerned with them as well. Just because, a team plays that bad, you got to capitalize on that. You can't just go out here and not win. You got to be able to wrap that game up if Joe Burrow is playing that bad in the first half, playing that bad throughout the game, and so on. So Steelers, I'm kind of concerned about that. And also the Browns, I'm really concerned about them as well, because, yes, they got the win over the Panthers this week. But when you look at them not having a quarterback until Deshaun Watson gets back, that's kind of concerning because the skill guys aren't going to really be able to carry week after week after week. And Brisket, he played Brissett. He played a great week in week 1. But, again, Panthers, they aren't the best team in the division and so on. So, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough to claim. But anyway, man, those are just a few of the concerns. I'm not going to hold you anymore, man. I greatly appreciate you sticking with me, hanging with me. I know I can get a little crazy sometimes. I know it can be a bit much and all of that, but no, I greatly appreciate you hanging with me. Be sure to send this to a friend, a family member, anybody who likes football or anybody who likes any of the teams I talked about. Definitely send this to somebody who was talking about the Broncos. Because I was even talking about the Broncos, but they pissed me off last night. So, but be sure to follow me on Instagram at The Run Podcast. You can follow my personal page as well at I am Manny Wilson. Twitter as well at I'm Manny Wilson. So yeah, man, we will be back later on this week. We're going to give you guys some predictions for week 2. Hopefully it's a lot better, but I finished off week 1. It was a rough start, 7-8-1. So we just got to improve from that next week. I think we can do that. That's very possible. It was a lot of twists and turns this week, but it's all good. But anyway, we will be back later on next week, and so on and so on and so on.